Oh my god, could it be? Is it actually possible? Is Horny and Afraid Plus back? Why, yes, it is. After being homeless and then working on a farm for 2 months, I'm finally back and ready to bring joy into your lives yet again. You're welcome. For those of you who forgot how things work around here, or are somehow new, I don't care either way, you're welcome all the same. I cover all the series in Jump that Zen and Ocean Lad don't cover on Shonen and Chill. So while the boys are covering all the greats, My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, Red Hood, I cover all the ones that people maybe don't pay as much attention to, that almost probably no one reads but me, so the audience I have for this series is kind of limited. But hey, I read some great stuff, like Sakamoto Days, High School Family. Love it. It's great. I love it. And I love talking about it. And I want a reason to make stuff. And this is a super convenient use of my time, especially since I read all of Jump anyway. And I don't want to pretend like that's wasted time. So that's how it is. I forget how I did it before, but how I'm generally going to go about it here today. I'm just going to go down my ranking list because I, give a number score and ranking out of, well, now 18 to every series. So I'll just go from bottom to top, and of course only cover the series that they don't read in the show, like I said. Scroll through it a bit and talk about generally what happens and how I'm feeling about what's going on. So without further ado, let's get right on into it with our number 18 spot, Maguchan God of Destruction, at a 6 out of 10. Being in last place and a 6 out of 10, I imagine you can see how I feel about it, which is not bad. I mean, it's above a 5, and for me, a 5 out of 10 is a perfectly fine chapter, so it's not bad. Nothing this week was bad. But, I don't know, this chapter seemed kind of weak, covered a conflict I'm not all that interested in, especially since this is a gag manga that is different every week, no running plots, so I don't really see this mattering much in the long run of things, and it's not really a funny chapter, so there's not really much for me to care about. But this chapter focuses on Kikyo, the nerd, and Yuika, the rambunctious best friend who is a bit of a troublemaker. And the conflict here is that Kikyo was accepted into some fancy high school that she's studying for, and she hasn't told her friends that she wants to go there yet. That's an issue, because all of her friends in the occult club are planning on going to the same high school together so they can be friends and have a nice time. So when they find out that Kikyo is going to go somewhere else, it's not that good of a revelation. But especially so for Yuika. And we find out this is because they have quite the past together, the whole thing where Kikyo saved Yuika from a sad, boring, depressing life and became her friend when she needed her and helped her turn herself around. So with Kikyo leaving, Yuika feels pretty betrayed and doesn't know what to do. And we end the chapter with the gang trying to help them reconcile, and we'll find out what's happening next chapter. So cool thing, a multi-chapter arc, which isn't uncommon in Maguchan, but it's definitely not the usual. So it's always nice when a series can have a bit more time to flesh out any plotline they want. But I don't know, man. For a while now, Maguchan has been lowering and lowering still in my opinion of it, because it's kind of getting boring. Early on, I liked the whole idea. Maguchan was a fun character. I liked all the god stuff, god of destruction, god of insanity, cool stuff. But it's boring now, and I kind of want anything to happen. And I know it's not fair to expect a gag manga to have any plot stuff, because it's purely meant for gags. And I like gag manga. I mean, High School Family is one of my favorite manga in the magazine. But the gags here just aren't strong enough to justify it being just a gag manga. So who knows what'll happen. I'm kind of, not really, but kind of hoping for cancellation, even though I know it's a mean thing to do. So for now, I'll say kind of mid. But let's find out where things go and move on to the next spot so I can have something maybe slightly more fun to talk about. Number 17 is Elusive Samurai at a 6 out of 10, but they cover Elusive Samurai on Shonen and Chill, so we're going to breeze past that and talk about number 16, Mission Yozakura Family. This week, Mission Yozakura Family, at a 7 out of 10, was pretty okay. I mean, it's a 7, so pretty positive on it, just not psyched, if that makes any sense. After last week, or after the last arc in general, which was hype AF the entire time, it's kind of sad to go back to a weekly one-off chapter about this or that, but that's the nature of these things, and hopefully we'll get right on into the next arc in a few chapters, because it's good to have down chapters. It's good to have chapters in between arcs, because that's something I value in many series, and I can think of a few series that don't do that, and that makes me sad. So thank you, Mission Yozakura Family, for doing this for me, but regardless, it doesn't mean you're a great chapter. But the content of the chapter itself, pretty simple. Shinzo is going to the store with the maid, and the gang are kind of watching him do it and be embarrassed because Shinzo doesn't like, or he isn't very good at being alone with girls because he's a sad little scaredy baby boy, even though he's a massive gun god of destruction, which is, always funny. You gotta love characters like that. The entire chapter, we're mostly just following Shinzo and seeing him be shy and all that. The gang interrupts him a bit, does this or that to make things funny or make him react in certain ways without him knowing that they're there, they think. And it's funny all around. It's really mostly just a comedy chapter. Until the very end, when after the date, quote-unquote, is over, Shinzo, just out of nowhere, materializes around the gang. And it's like, hey, I know what you're doing. I told you not to come. And you know what? Don't do that. I love you, and I will fucking crush you. So don't even worry about it. Have a nice day. I may have skipped out on a few details and forgot to mention names. Like, I didn't mention that it was specifically Tayo, Kengo, and Nanao. But that's not really important since, I guess it makes sense with them. Since Kengo is always a troublemaker. And Nanao is a bit of a goofball himself, and Tayo's the main character. Like I said, it doesn't really matter to the content of the chapter. And overall, I don't really have much to say about it besides looking forward to where the series is going next. And there were a few funny jokes in here, but not much to really sink my teeth into, which is why we're going to move right on into the next chapter. At 15th place, we have Witch Watch at a 7 out of 10, which we're skipping over and going right on up to Neru at a 7 out of 10. Holy shit. This week on Neru, we pick up from where we left off last week with the arrow retrieval test in order to be allowed to sleep indoors. Exciting stuff, I know. We left off with Neru and girl whose name I'm not going to remember until I like Neru finds the arrow, but it's too late because pretty soon the test will be over and they'll have lost. So they decide to shoot the arrow back with the bow that girl had by doing some weird stuff that is kudaya, a technique in archery, I guess. Pretty cool stuff. That's interesting. So they shoot it back, and big brother of girl who I don't care about is like, wow, you did it, good job. But then the chapter ends with big brother being like, hey, you saw my sister's panties, you sleep outside. And that's the entire chapter, with a few details omitted, because I have to emphasize right now, I'm not really caring about Neru. Hopefully I will. The art's cool and everything. But damn, it just never wants to do a single thing unique or interesting whatsoever. And that's really bugging me. It's bugging everyone, I imagine. It's why the boys stopped talking about it on the show. And while I like the art, and I generally like the character of Neru well enough, I just want something to happen. Something to latch on to. Because right now, we don't really have, any goal whatsoever besides, I like school and that's neat. And I want to be a cool fighting boy. I don't know. Neru is frustrating. It looked so cool. It's a throwback to an art style I really like. And I thought I'd be like, wow, so neat and interesting. But in reality, it's been nothing for a long time. And only recently am I even getting anything from it I want to see. I don't know. I'm not saying anything that you don't already know if you've read it or you haven't heard people talk about. And of course, it seems like girl likes Neru. I felt like mentioning that because it's annoying. You know, common tropes. Romance. Oh my gosh, Neru? I can't believe he told me his name. Ba-bump, ba-bump, my heart's going doki doki. Fuck you, I don't care. I don't know. I'm bored. So how about we just move right on over to number 13, Ayakashi Triangle, out of 7 out of 10. Before anything else, let's talk about the character popularity poll that just finished. I think it's the first one, maybe the second one. I'm not keeping track of these things because I'm not the biggest fan of Ayakashi Triangle. Anyway, 4th place, we have Lucy Tsukioka. You know, weird girl who likes aliens and stuff. That's part of the friend group. I skipped over 5th place, Shirogane. I'm not going to break up this take. I know I messed up. I don't care. You know, Catboy, he's pretty cool. Anyway, moving on. 3rd place, Rochka. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's Russian something. I'm not Russian. I'm rushing to get through this number 13th place Ayakashi Triangle out of 7 out of 10. Ayo, baby. She's Snow Girl Ayakashi. Pretty cool, I guess. 2nd place is Matsuri, and 1st place is Suzu. Nothing that would surprise anybody. I would have known for a fact that Suzu is the favorite because she's very much written and designed to be that. And Matsuri is the main character, so what can you expect? Whatever. With that being said, let's get on to the actual chapter, where we pick up where we left off with Matsuri kissing Suzu to get the evil spirit out of her mouth, because, of course, that's how this series would approach that. Although I can't complain too much, because it's not as explicit as the series have been in the past, and it's a little more tasteful. We jump into Suzu's mind, where she's battling the, evil being inside of her who's controlling her body, and it's all interesting, classic end of villain arc where the villain's like, I can't believe you care about people, it doesn't make any sense, and it's blah blah blah. And then we get back to present day we get back to reality in the real world, where Suzu and Matsuri are still kissing. They push out the evil spirit, and then she's kind of just gone. She leaves because she's like, fuck this, I don't like it. And then Matsuri's like, OMG, Suzu, I didn't mean it like that. Ooh, don't be angry. Blush, blush. And then end chapter, and it's fine. Whatever. I wish series would stop doing that thing where an emotional thing happens, and then immediately afterwards they're like, blush? That's so embarrassing. Don't be mad at me. I didn't mean it. And it's stupid, and I don't want to see it ever happen again. And if it does, I'll be angry. Anyway, with that being said, who knows where Ayakashi Triangle will go next? Maybe it'll at some point be something that I look forward to reading. I mean, I was looking forward to reading these last few chapters because whenever the series gets into actual serious storytelling with characters and plot lines I care about, it's cool. It's just the chapters where it's nothing but them being in the bath and groping each other, and the younger brother being like, oh my gosh, my sister is fucking with a lesbian right now. That's pretty hot. It's boring and annoying, and I hate it. So hopefully we jump right on to a new series arc without having any annoying chapters that will place straight at the bottom of my list. But I don't see that happening. Whatever. Let's move on to a favorite of mine and a favorite of many people I know, Roboco, at a 7 out of 10, baby. This week's Roboco, as it often is, was peak fiction in the highest regard. And I do truly mean that in the case of this week's chapter, because we get some more juicy details on the past of Roboco and her history. We start off this chapter with our characters, Roboco, Bondo, Matsuo, and Best Boy Gorilla Gotchi just walking down the street. Oh, also Nyanta is there, but Nyanta isn't really an entity, which is sad. I love Nyanta. We have Dr. Kanyo and his creations lying on the floor half dead. Oh my gosh, what happened? As it turns out, some new players have arrived on the scene, and some people from Roboco's past. Some military bot named Millie, and also some guy whose name I forget, and also the coolest fucking dog I've ever seen in my life. They show up because they came looking for Roboco. And why did they come looking for Roboco, you ask? Because of Roboco's past. Long ago, in a unknown number of years ago, Millie and Roboco served together in a war that seemingly was quite gruesome. Back then, Roboco was the stoic war veteran who has no time for friends and can't risk having people close to her because she lives too dangerously. And it's really cool. A real guts type character, you know? A loner. It's amazing. Present day, Roboco is very embarrassed by these stories, and she's like, "Dear God, please don't reveal my embarrassing past, ooh woo." And Millie just is not having it. She's like, "Roboco, we need you back. We can give you full-time benefits. Come join our evil group that wants to destroy humanity named Eden. Trust me, baby. We got it all for ya. I'll tell you exactly what they got for. No forced overtime. Weekends always off. Guaranteed 5-day work week. Complete health insurance package. A living expenses allowance that includes a lunch subsidy. Easily scheduling of paid vacations. Use of company housing. And performance-based salary bonuses." Quite the deal here in the 21st century. Many people would love to have that. And it seems like Roboco is seriously questioning it. But she's like, "Nah, boy, I'm a cute maid with a cute boy and friends, and I like it, so please leave me alone." But Millie does not want to take this for an answer. She's like, "Nah, Roboco, you don't get it. We need you, and I'll take you back by force if I need to." So she sends her little manservant to fight Roboco, and he does that whole thing where he's like, "Wow, I was expecting to fight the legend, but it seems you're just lame now. Here, easy fight." And then Roboco fucking slams him. And then, long story short, Millie's all like, "Damn, Roboco, you're still so cool. We'll be back, I swear, but damn, you're so fucking sexy. I want to kiss you. Goodbye." She didn't say that last part, but I feel like it was implied. Anyway, Roboco, amazing this week. Amazing every week, but especially so this week. I cannot wait to have more peak fiction in our future. Next in line, and by the way, we're at 11 out of 18 now, is Mashal at a 7 out of 10. But they cover Mashal on the main show, so let's move on to number 10 out of 18, Dr. Stone at a 7 out of 10. But wait, they also cover that on the main show. So now we gotta go to the next one, PPP at an 8 out of 10. But oh fuck, since that's a new series, they also cover that on the show. So let's get right on into number 8 out of 18, Blue Box, an 8 out of 10. Oh my goodness. This week on Blue Box, pretty cool, pretty cute, pretty adorable as always. We got Taiki and Haru playing some badminton like bosses. But it's the end of the day and they gotta go home. Even though they're trying to get ready for the tournament. Whatever. You gotta get rest and all that. So they leave and start heading home. Taiki is going along with his best buddy, whose name I don't remember. And he's like, "Hey, if you win at Nationals, or if you get to go to Nationals is what I meant to say, and I'm not going to go back and fix it. Are you going to ask out your big old crush Chinatsu?" And then Taiki's like imagining marrying her, and he knows what he's thinking. So his friend's like, "Stop that shit, you know that's not what I'm talking about." But on a more serious note, Taiki's like, "I don't know, man. I don't know if I should ask her out, because God forbid the worst happens, and she says no. Living at the house would be really weird for her, and I don't want to do that." And, of course, that's a really cool thing for him to do. I'm proud of my boy Taiki for being such a kind lad, which he always is. But as they're talking, they're walking by and they get to a convenience store where Haru, his teacher, and a few people are getting food because I guess the teacher promised to treat them to whatever for whatever reason. And they're like, hey guys, the teacher said he'd get us food. And the teacher's like, well, I mean, I told you guys, not everyone, but whatever, fine. So they, get some food. Taiki gets some fried chicken. Yum. Love it. Love it. You love fried chicken. And Hina's like, hey, Taiki, I'm going to steal a piece of your fried chicken. And then he's like, hey, that's mine, but, like, whatever. And he's like, don't you know, fried chicken has calories? And she's like, it's protein, so it's fine. And he's like, yeah, but also it's fried, so whatever. But Taiki's like, I don't care anymore. And he's like, don't worry. On your last day, I'll bring you a gift. Hina being her cute self, flirting with Taiki, not sure what she wants. Same as always, it's pretty sad to see her so close to the boy she likes without being allowed to be with him, or thinking that she's not allowed to be with him because she's too selfless and not wanting to get in the way. Anyway, she leaves, and Chinatsu, who we saw take notice of them sharing fried chicken earlier, and she's like, hey, Taiki, can I have a piece of fried chicken? And then Taiki's like, wow, I didn't know you were hungry. And Chinatsu says that Chono, Hina, getting a piece of fried chicken made her jealous. And we end the chapter there, basically. And what we don't know is what Chinatsu was really talking about. Was she jealous of not being able to get some fried chicken? Was she jealous of Hina sharing food with Taiki? Does this mean that Chinatsu likes my boy Taiki? I don't know. We don't know. It's pretty interesting. We're really getting into the heart of this romance here. Anything could happen. We don't really get to see much from Chinatsu's point of view. So it's always interesting when we get to see little glimpses of what she might be thinking. But hopefully in the future we get to see a little bit more from her, because so far the entire series has been focused on Taiki, and focused on his badminton, and focused on his crush on Chinatsu. And when the series started, I was really hoping that we'd get to see a bit from both of their perspectives, This dual romance thing where they both might have feelings for one another, and this and that. Although, in hindsight, it might be better that there's a bit of mystery to it, because nothing's more annoying than a romance series where we know that both characters like each other because they talk about it all the time, but they never know that they like each other and nothing ever happens. That's a trope that I could go without. So maybe this is the better way of going about it. Either way, Blue Box is cute every week. It's good every week. So I have nothing to complain about, and I'm just going to let the author do what they got to do to make the story that they want to make, because I trust them. Anyways, that's all I have to say about Blue Box. It's time to move on to 7 out of 18 Undead Unluck at an 8 out of 10. This week on Undead Unluck.
Hello.
Hi? Is that you, Osins?
Hello.
Yeah, hi. What are you doing here?
The global network of capital essentially functions by separating the worker from the means of production, therefore making rebellion against the higher-ups and the elites of the bourgeoisie that much harder.
I mean, yeah, I think you mentioned something like that on Shonen and Show this week. I just don't really know what that has to do with Undead Unluck, but cool, whatever. I guess you're here now, so I was, wondering maybe if you might have possibly want to talk about it with me, since, you and Zen forgot to mention it on Shonen and Show this week.
Zenrado? More like idiot.
Whoa, okay. Listen, I get that it was a monumentous and stupid mistake to somehow forget to mention one of your favorite series in the magazine on the show, but it's not like you're blameless either, man, alright? Okay, geez, dude, chill out. It's not that... Alright, whatever, let's just talk about the chapter, alright? It was a pretty good chapter anyway. Last chapter, Top beat the big, shooty go blam bad guy, giving Andy ample time to make his way up to see Fuko. But, oh no, seems like Unrip is there to try to stop him because, bad guys and all that. And since Unrip only didn't work on, or Unrepair. Unrip? What the fuck is Unrip? Kill me now. Anyway, last time those two fought, Andy only got by because he didn't technically understand Rip's ability, which then allowed him to bypass the Unrepair and all that. But this time, turns out it's not working. And Andy's getting beat the fuck up. It's pretty cool, and I like it a lot. But he's still pushing forward, doing his Andy best. He's doing what he can, keep on going forward. He has a flashback, and he's like, wow, a long time ago I realized that there's no way Fuko's going to be able to kill me. But I don't care. Over time, I grew to love her anyway, and that's why I have to see her. And he's like, fuck, man, you can't bypass my repair. You can't repair. You can't do shit. My name is Rip, and I'm so cool. And Andy's like, fuck you anyway. Cuts off his own head and goes flying up. And he heals, I guess, and it's cool and all that. And then he's like, Tatiana, help me out. I need you to send me up there. And so Andy goes flying up. And luckily or really unluckily if I'm being honest, we don't get to see Andy's penis as it is so cleverly censored out of frame. Mr. Speakerman is like, oh, what the fuck is happening? How's this going on? Weird, scary face man, whose name I don't know, helps get Speakerman out of the way so that Andy can go and see Fuko, and he tells her that he loves her.
No offense, but I need her to sit on me.
I guess. That's pretty funny, Osins. But, it kind of cuts the emotional climax of the scene when you say stuff like that.
No offense, but I need her to sit on me.
Yeah, I heard. Listen, man, that's great. Whatever. End of chapter. Let's just give our final words and all that.
Rawness and swag out of 10.
Yeah, you said the thing, which really cool. But also, that's kind of not how we do things around here. Here on Horny and Afraid Plus, we like to give number scores to things, but I guess I already gave mine, being 8 out of 10, so there's not much left to be said. But I'm happy at the very least I could get a rawness and swag out of you. Anyway, Osins, it was really great to have you on the show. So hopefully you'll be back another time. Or whatever. But with that being said, I hope you have a great day, Osins.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye. Okay, is he gone? I don't know how he got in here. But whatever. That's behind us now. I'm just gonna move on to number 6 out of 18. Black Clover at an 8 out of 10. So I know what you're thinking. What's that? Not only is Black Clover at an 8 out of 10, not only is Black Clover in the top 10, and not only is Black Clover barely shy of the top 5. I know, it's wild. But trust me, for once in my life, I have a good reason for doing the things that I do. Here we pick up from last chapter, where Yuno shoots Mr. Big Bad Scary Devilman, whose name I'm not going to remember, and I know One Smart is probably going to comment it and be like, that's his name, and also, you should pay more attention, and you can't criticize Black Clover if you don't pay attention to every name in detail all the time. Listen, One Smart, there are many series where I don't know the characters' names. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I am still reading, and I really like this chapter anyway, so please give me at least a little bit of slack. Anyway, we get some backstory for what's his name? I was gonna read it real quick. Oh, look, it's John. Anyway, John's being bullied because I guess he has weird, creepy powers, and they don't like that. I wouldn't bully someone who had weird, creepy powers that are potentially dangerous, because, what if they wanted to use those weird and creepy powers on me? But whatever, I'm not a bully, so maybe I just don't get how the bullying rules work. But a boy named Alan comes in and stops him, and it's like, or it stops them from bullying him. And he's like, don't be mean. His powers are weird, but they're cool too. And whatever. So the bullies leave, and we have John. We have John and Alan, who are now friends. And Alan's like, I want to be Pirate King. And John's like, hey, I want to be Pirate King too. So then we, get a bit of a sequence of them training and growing and all that, and we have a jump to the future. And it seems like Mr. John and Alan are going on a quest to a big, scary dungeon place. And they're like, I'm going to be Pirate King. No, I'm going to be Pirate King. It's really cute and, just like Asta and pretty cool. But there's a giant, big, bad devil man here. And they're like, fuck, we're going to die. And Alan is like, fuck that, I'm so cool, I ain't gonna die here, I'm gonna be Pirate King. And he goes in to use big bad final attack on Devil Boy. But then John's like, no, we can't win unless I do the thing. So then he takes this moment and uses his big bad creepy powers that were alluded to earlier in the chapter to both impale Alan and also in turn impale and defeat the devil. I guess the idea there was that distraction was the only thing that allowed him to do so. It's sad. We get a big, bad, sad face from Mr. John, and it's pretty emotional. And then he's like, listen, my brother, I'm going to make a contract with the devil. And then it seems like he's making a contract with Beelzebub. Pretty crazy stuff. Don't allow my flippant retelling of the narrative to act like I don't care what was happening, because I did think this chapter was pretty cool. I just hope next chapter we get a bit more with John and see a bit more of his backstory and things that went on when he contracted with Beelzebub, because I always like Black Clover best when it's not really about the main story of Black Clover. At the very least, it's like a side story with a side character, because then both the art and some of Tabata's storytelling works a bit better, in my opinion. But whatever, that's basically what happened. I can't imagine much of what will be going on in the future. I'm not speculative like that for Black Clover, but I'm sure One Smart has lots to say about it. But whatever. For now, I'll stop there and move on to number 5 out of 18, High School Family, at an 8 out of 10. What's that? A gag manga being in 5th place? That's pretty crazy, I know. But I really like High School Family, and this chapter was another volleyball chapter. I'm not going to fix that flub. Eat it. A kid from the past who used to be on the volleyball team but was a scoundrel and a miscreant and caused trouble and was suspended comes back this chapter, and he's like, hey, can I play some volleyball? And the captain's like, no, you're a dork. And then he's like, who's that old guy? And it's, of course, Mr. Iatani, Big Dad Bro. And he's like, this guy's got your position. And Punk's like, that's lame. Let me fight him. And then Iatani's like, sure, I'll face you in a match. And then he crushes him. And Punk Guy's like, that's not cool. I'm going to go train a little bit and come back the next day. He does so. Iatani beats him again. He goes back, trains one more time, comes back, and Mr. Iatani beats him again because he's the GOAT and top 10 strongest characters in Jump right now. So Punk Kid is annoyed, but I think it's his meeting with Mr. Iatani, Ichiro, that allows him to want to better himself, and that's interesting because it always seems like, this old guy being so good gives the students motivations to do stuff. Pretty great. And then the chapter ends. Maybe he'll be a more prominent character going forward. another member of the side cast. I don't know. But it was pretty fun. I like this chapter. Not much to say about it. It's a gag chapter. You know how those things go. So let's move on to our number 4 out of 18 spot. Sakamoto Days, an 8 out of 10. This week in Sakamoto Days, we have Mr. Sakamoto doing some training with a rifle guy and his bird Pisuke. And it's pretty cool. You know, action's always great, and we get a little spectacle here. He catches a bullet with chopsticks. Always cool. But then Shin shows up, apparently. But then, no, it's not Shin. What it actually is Nagumo, secret killer guy who was friends with Sakamoto in the past. And he's like, listen, Sakamoto, sounds like you're looking around for your hired killers, but please don't do that. You're a lame-ass shop clerk. Go home. We're on it. But then Sakamoto's like, nah, these people are trying to hurt my family, and also we want information about X. And those guys might get killed by you guys, and I need information from those Secret 4 super killer people before you do that. But then Nagumo's like, listen, bro, do you even know what your enemies are thinking about you right now? And he shows them a little sheets of paper that shows Mr. Sakamoto having the B rank. And he's like, I'm S rank, by the way. And that's not cool. Sakamoto should be SSS plus Golden Star rank. And Sakamoto is clearly bothered by this, even though he wants to live that peaceful life. Pretty funny. Anyway, we cut to Lou and Shin in a pet store, you know, playing with puppies and all that, and it's cool. But then suddenly, all the animals start freaking out. And we look at this one guy who's just chilling there, being creepy and all that. And he's talking about weird stuff about how people should die beautifully and how animals should shut up, I guess, and all that. And he attacks Shin, but Shin blocks it. And he's like, wow, I thought I killed you, but whatever. Anyway, you guys are targets of mine? Let's see here. Lou, C rank. Shin, D rank. And Shin's like, whoa, wait a minute. That dumb bimbo has a higher rank than me. He's all depressed by it and sad, and he's crying. But then bad guy's like, don't worry, bro. When you die, ranks don't matter. But then he's like, D rank, huh? I'm gonna beat you up and then ask you to reassess my ranking. And then Lou is like, you really care about your rank that much, bro? And he's like, yes. And then bad guy's like, wow, this seems like it'll be a good time. And end of chapter. So, pretty cool. We're finally having a conflict with these 4 assassin guys. This guy first seems pretty rough. Don't know what's going to happen, but I'm excited nonetheless because I always love plot shit happening. I know they've been, you know, introduced already, and we're kind of putting pieces in place for big stuff, but things are now starting to be knocked down. And I guess we have a whole ranking system now. Is this kind of like power levels and bounties and all that? Is it going to be as prevalent, or is this a one-off thing for this arc that isn't actually going to matter? I could go either way, though I imagine at some point all the enemies would be S rank anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But that's all for Sakamoto Days, so let's move on to number 3, Red Hood, 8 out of 10. Wait a minute, they covered that. Number 2, JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen, 9 out of 10. Oh, what's that? Already covered on the show? Cool. And then My Hero, number 1, 9 out of 10. You know the drill. That's all for this week on Horny and Afraid Plus. Had a good time. It's nice to be back. Next week we'll have One Piece, and I'll have a bit more to talk about, and maybe eventually I'll break the 50-minute mark if I'm feeling lucky. I don't know. But with that being said, I think I'll call it here, except for one small tidbit, one thing I might want to let you in on. Maybe go into the description and see if anything is interesting or cool down there they might want to take a gander at. I don't know. I ain't your dad. Do what you want, but maybe take my suggestion and you'll find something that you think is pretty cool. Whatever. Anyway, have a nice day. I'll talk to you later. Sayonara.